Harmony Korine is a born provocateur. He spent his early years creating some of the most nihilistic cinema of the late 90s and early 2000s. He is a filmmaker who embraces different styles and philosophies. He is one of the few American filmmakers who embraced the Dogma 95 style during its short life for Julian Donkey Boy. He's never chained to one style, and it seems like he strives to change as often as he can. His new film, AGGRO feels like another avenue for Korine to go down, but it's also an avenue with a very certain dead end. AGGRO is about the world's greatest assassin. We know this because he repeats this statement like a mantra. He also loves his wife and kids, as he repeatedly tells us. The assassin is tasked with killing a man who thinks he's a demon. Guess how we learned this? As you can tell, AGGRO is repetitive to an extreme. The result is splitting. One half of any audience will become exasperated, throwing their hands up at this unnecessary onslaught of repetitive statements. The other half will find the meditative qualities of this film and jive with the rhythm, the editing, and the dialogue. A few will even see this film as a radical deconstruction of action films of the early 2000s, utilizing the neon lights and cool breeze of southern Florida, a la Michael Mann's Miami Vice, to create a mystical quality to the violence on screen. I was a little bit of all three. The film's main draw is the infrared filmmaking. Strangely enough, the allure of this gimmick was diluted by a film I saw earlier the same day, where infrared was also used in a creative and thought-provoking way. Much like Gaspar Noé with Enter the Void, we are being taken on a strange trip through the hallucinatory mind. What does the infrared style mean to evoke from the audience? I'm not sure. I don't even think there was supposed to be a reason, honestly. Which is a flaw, but a par for the course creative decision that I would expect from Harmony Korine. Style is mostly about style in AGGRO, but it's a fun style. The bright colors keep our attention and attempts to carry this project that's practically void of plot. But even the most astute slow cinema lover needs a story at some point. Korine's obsession with showcasing the underbelly of America in the most creative way possible is on full display here. This film feels like an extreme extension of Terrence Malick's style when he was making his tone poems after The Tree of Life, like a more disturbing version of Knight of Cups, which is a wonderful film. In AGGRO we can see some of the style that Malick and Lubetsky crafted. Floating camera circling around mostly improvisational scenes, racing forward to getting close to something important to highlight. In AGGRO, the actors seem confused as to what to even do, like they were given one piece of direction and only had that to work with for the entire shoot. The acting, for the most part, is awful and drew the most laughs from the audience. But again, you have to ask if that was the intention from the get-go. It's a waste of time to point out the fact that no character acts like a real person. In my opinion, it's also the most lazy critique you can make when it comes to movies like this. Korine isn't creating this film in what we would call our reality, so why would we expect a realistic portrayal from the actors? But in the case of filmmakers like David Lynch, Apichatpong Weerasethakul, Robert Bresson, and many other auteurs, they have a clear vision to the strange mannerisms and line delivery in their films. Korine is lost in liking the concept of odd characters, but he has no idea why he wants them to act this way. And if he does, the impact of the ideas are too shallow to be considered any good. After viewing AGGRO, I feel like I now understand the Travis Scott debacle a little bit more. While the true reason as to why it took him so long to sign off on the film has never been revealed, it makes sense that if your name is being used to sell the film, and it turns out you only have a total of 5 minutes of screen time, you would have some issues. I thought he was the main character up until the film began. I never watched the trailer or anything before my screening. It was a shock to me as well, as I almost felt annoyed for him. His name was used over and over in promoting the movie. The whole thing comes off exploitative now. At this point, there's no word on a wide release of AGGRO, and part of me doesn't believe there ever will be. Mass audiences are not ready for this movie, but also don't need to be for what is essentially an 80-minute troll face. I see AGGRO having a long life as a midnight screening, where many Korine fans will sneak in their beer and edibles, giddy for the film to begin, and then walk out, mostly disappointed.